let's see. Can't believe it's been 6 years since I reunited with my birth family. This is crazy. Like, it's just going back and watching my videos and everything I went through, and from sending in my DNA to the reunion and everything after. I tried to do a follow-up video or a update video so many times, but so much has happened that I need to catch y'all up on. And while I have some time, I just wanted to do that. So first, I want to thank everybody who supported me through the journey, going back and looking at the comments, and which I still need to respond to even 6 years later. I just want to thank everybody who was receptive to the story I was telling that I didn't know I was telling at the time, and to all the people who started their journey because they were inspired by mine. It was just very heartening to see fellow adoptees, or even if you weren't an adoptee and just kind of wanted to know more about your family tree, that somehow you were inspired or entertained by my stories. Just to let you know, I am still in contact with some of my birth family. I'm actually going to visit my birth grandmother, who I haven't visited or seen since that reunion day 6 years ago, over 6 years ago. Same for my birth mother, but I have been in contact with them. Me and my birth mother text each other. We've talked on the phone a couple of times. And that's fine for me. Some people are like, well, y'all should, they figured that we should do more, but that's not our relationship. So she's busy, I'm busy, but we do keep in contact at least once or twice a month. Me and my grandmother write letters, which is exciting for me because I never get anything besides bills in the mail. So to get a handwritten letter from her, it's just so sweet. And I've talked to her on the phone a bunch of times, not as often as I should or would like to, but like I said, I'm going to visit her soon, so we'll be in the same space and able to chat. I've sent her pictures. She sent me money, which was so sweet, and I was like, I don't need it. I still have it, along with in a box with her letters and stuff. She's so sweet. Like it was one day where I was just feeling so down, and I called her, and she made me feel so much better. Just, there's not many people in my life besides my friends, especially family, that say I love you to me on a consistent basis. But every time in her letters, on the phone, it's I love you, I love you, I love you. So I just love her. I haven't been in contact with my birth father as much. I'm gonna get into some other things, but yeah, I just haven't been in contact with him as much. It was kind of, and I think I mentioned this before, when we first started communicating, he was calling himself my dad, my father, or, this your daddy, I'm your daddy, blah, blah, blah. And I was just like insistent upon having to correct him. Well, I was getting irritated with having to correct him and let him know that he is his name and I have a father, and trying to set that boundary. And he crossed the boundary just one time too many. So I finally just laid down the law and was like, we can't communicate if you can't respect that. And so he contacted me a few times on Facebook and left me his phone number, but I haven't been in contact with him because I just feel like I'm going to have to keep reiterating that boundary. So I'm just not comfortable yet with communicating with him again. I'm going to try again one day, but for now it was just a lot. We only saw each other that one time at the reunion. I thought about contacting him when I do go see my grandmother, because it's in the same area, same city. But we'll see how I feel about that. I do keep in contact with the aunt that did, the aunt who gave the DNA to solidify who my birth father was. We're in touch on Facebook. I'm in touch with some of my cousins on my dad's side on Facebook. The siblings weren't as fruitful of a reunion. On my dad's side, we're friends on Facebook, but we don't really communicate. You know, I've tried, and I get it. It's like they've been raised together, and I'm coming in 40 years later, you know. And I'm not like affronted by that, or, you know, I don't feel bad about their reaction or their lack of communication, because it is what it is. But I hope they know that I'm here if they want to chat, if they want to open the door for a relationship. I haven't forced it on anybody, even my parents. So, my birth parents. So, yeah, it's just, yeah. We know each other exists, and we exist in the same space, but there's no, like, consistent communication with them. Which brings me to my brother on my mother's side, who is like a year older than me. I think I expressed in previous videos during the reunion season that we started talking on the phone. We were in contact. We were talking like several times a week, but also that reunion was not fruitful. And I was excited because, like I said, that was the one connection that I was hoping for during my journey. Not just because I've lost my brothers, you know, but even when I was 18, it was just like, just to find out that there was another sibling and, you know, somebody connected to me by blood. And yeah, I was so close to my brothers. It was like, oh, to have another brother would be great. But as time went on and we started communicating, I felt like he was trying to enlist me as an ally, as an ally in his resentment or hate for our birth mother. Just a few months ago, earlier this year, he came on my YouTube channel and left this really like nasty comment, which I will put right here. That was his first time communicating or reaching out or whatever that was in years. Like, we haven't talked in probably 2 or 3 years or longer. And for that to be our first communication was it just reinforced what I felt when we stopped communicating before. So what happened was, we were getting to know each other, you know, found out we had a lot in common. I felt a connection, you know, a sibling connection, blah, 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 blah. As the weeks and months went on, I just felt like he constantly would bring up our birth mother and would say negative things about her, about the family. Found out that he was supposed to be adopted out too. He has a different father. His father's family stopped that. He was raised by our birth mother's family, and he clearly had a lot of resentment about being raised by her. And I even asked him, did he resent the fact that I wasn't raised with them? And he said no. But every conversation kind of, even when I would redirect him or change the subject, every conversation became like him sowing the seed of hate for her in me. And so one day I just was fed up with it, and I was just like, I set another boundary. It was like he was acting like my birth father. Set another boundary, like, look, our relationship is different from y'all's relationship. Your and my relationship has nothing to do with my relationship with her. So stop like trying to make me hate her. Stop trying to like, your experience was not my experience, and you can't make me hate her. Even when I found out that I was adopted at like 11, nothing in me was like hate. I never felt hate towards her. I was curious. And maybe because I feel like I had a great home life, I wasn't There was no like fantasy of, oh, my birth mother is going to be this person or that person or whoever. um I felt like I always had a realistic opinion of what our relationship might be. I didn't even expect to have a relationship with her if I found her. Did it hurt when she rejected my search angels and my cousin? Yes. Oh, I'm still in touch with Janet too. I hope to go visit her this summer too. But there was never like, how could you do this to me? And, none of that. And even when I met her, I told her, like I always felt thankful. And every Mother's Day, I would thank her too. Like wherever she was, I would thank her. On my birthday, I would thank her. So it was never, I always had a thankful spirit for what she did and how hard that must have been for her, and whether it was her choice or not. So to know that she had raised a child before me and then was in that position where she had 2 children that she did not want to mother. And I feel that because I'm a childless person too, and I've chosen not to mother. You know what I'm saying? I've chosen not to be a parent. But maybe she didn't have that choice. Either way, it just became too much. And so I laid down the law and was just like, this is our relationship. I'm trying to build a relationship with you. And if you can't separate that, or you can't stop trying to sow this seed of hate or resentment or whatever for our birth mother, if you feel like your hate for her is more important than your love for me, then we just can't communicate. And so he just starts going off on me about how naive I am, and she's just playing a role, as far as communicating with me. She's just pretending, and you don't know her, and you just, some of the same foolishness that was in that comment. And so yeah, I was just basically like, the door is open whenever you decide you want to be an adult. And that was that. And there was been no more communication. And I felt bad because I started communicating with his daughter. I was like, I had another niece, and I like being an aunt. You know what I'm saying? I enjoyed that. My niece and nephew here are in their 20s now, and she was, I think, 9 or 10 at the time, elementary age. So now she's in high school, I believe, or she's graduated from 8th grade. He told me in the email. So I missed that connection. So losing that connection with him means I lose that connection with her. But I still continue to, he was living with my grandmother at the time, so I still continue to call and talk to my grandmother regardless. From what I heard, he's no longer living there, which is good because I don't want to deal with that when I go visit her. And it's part of the reason I haven't gone to visit her is because I didn't want conflict, because I know he told me when my birth mother visits, he goes somewhere for the weekend because he doesn't want to interact with her, which is crazy. But and again, he's a year older than me. He is a grown person, and so it's like, get help, get some therapy, work that shit out, and stop. Like, literally years later, you're coming to my YouTube channel to bash her for what? What is that accomplishing? Because again, y'all have seen my story and my communication and my relationship with her. Has nothing to do with his. So I'm sorry that that's the person but what? Why does our relationship have to be affected by your issues with her? Why can't you build something with me despite her? So again, like I said, I just told him, like, we can no longer communicate if this is what you're going to do. And he decided he'd rather not communicate. And that's where we are. So yeah, besides that YouTube comment, I haven't heard anything from him in years. And that's crazy. So that's it with the siblings. The biggest news I have as an update is, I think I told everyone that I moved back here in 2016 because my mom got sick, really sick, and I had to go to South Carolina, and then we came back to Louisiana. I was back and forth for a couple of years, and then finally in 2018 I decided to stay because it was too expensive to go back and forth. I was graduating from grad school at the end of 2018, and so I just decided to stay and became a part-time caregiver for my mom. I was getting gigs down here, you know, I was getting work and stuff, so it just made sense to stay here and stay put. And then 2019 I did my web series. 2020 the pandemic happened, and one of the biggest things happened in 2020 was my father died July 30th of 2020. He had been sick over the previous weekend, and we thought he had COVID. Took him to the emergency room, to quick care, like a emergency care. And they said that they didn't like the way his lungs were sounding to take him to an ER. And at this time it was peak COVID, so I couldn't go in with him. He had to go in by himself. I sat, in the parking lot in the vehicle, and basically was there all night until he was admitted. And this was a Monday, and he passed away on Thursday. And I was the only person who was able, I was the only person he would let come up there. And so I feel like me having to stay in Louisiana to take care of my mother was my chance to spend time with him as well. I didn't know that he had a heart condition, a severe heart condition, because he was like super independent, when he worked every day. And he was a HVAC person. And so I didn't know. And his heart stopped. I was supposed to go visit him that morning, and they called us, and I thought maybe he had went into a coma or something happened. ICU. We get there and he's gone. So yeah, I lost my daddy in 2020, and that was hard enough. Then I became a full-time caregiver because I didn't have him to pick up the slack with my mom. And then in October of 2021, my mother passed in my arms. And I won't go through the entire scenario, whatever. We were supposed to go to the doctor that morning. She had woke up before me. I hear her scream my name, and I run to her room because sometimes she would fall, or she couldn't get up off the toilet or something like that. So I'm running to find her, and I find the garage door open, and she's on the floor, and she told me to help her get up, and I'm trying to help her get up, and I could not. Everything that we normally tried to get her up was just not working. Her breathing slowed down. I called 911. She stopped breathing. I tried to do CPR. That didn't work. They came, tried to do CPR, couldn't bring her back. So she took her last breath in my arms, and in 15 months, I lost both my parents in less than 2 years. So it's been really hard. It's been really, really hard. A lot of grief, a lot of guilt, a lot of anxiety, depression, managing life in this house without them. It's been really, really hard. And I know in these cases, some people gravitate to their birth parents to fill that void, but I haven't. And I don't plan to, because they can't. You know what I mean? They've offered their sympathy. Even my grandmother was like, "You can come live with me," and I was like, "Oh, that's so sweet." But it's hard still. 3 years later, it will be 3 years for my dad later this month, and it's still hard. So yeah, a lot has happened in 6 years. Positive things, a lot of negative things. Lost personal losses, lost connections, and some that are still being nurtured, but I'm still here, and I'm still thankful for my journey. I'm still thankful regardless of what didn't go right. So many things went right, and I was able to spend time with my parents before they left this earth, and I hope they know that I'm okay, and I hope they're okay too. So I just wanted to give y'all that update and ask any questions that you have, and I'll answer them in the comments. And to those who are on their journey still, I wish you the best of luck. And again, thank y'all so much for supporting me.